What's up, guys? Welcome back to the JP and Trav show. It's your boy, JP, baby Sooner. And Travis, how you feeling today?
Man, it's been a wild day. There's no doubt about that. I had a couple of my guys go down with COVID. My chef, and then another one of my employees. Her brother died of a heart attack this morning. So
Man,
I'm all over the place. Hence why I'm coming to you live from the kitchen at Cardinal Club. So
yeah. You
anyway,
always you always you always at a different spot almost every week. So
yeah,
keep
yeah.
rolling
It's
with it.
hey, but I make it. I make it.
You do. Hey, so we have a very, very, very special guest with us tonight. This man is somebody that people say kind of knows everything about recruiting college football. He does amazing edits, has relationships with so many recruits and players across the country, and he's blessing us with his time tonight. So everybody, welcome to the show, Hayes Fawcett. Hayes, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Appreciate y'all for having me. And I want to make a comment. I don't normally sound like this. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so I just want to apologize for for me sounding like this.
You got the voice modifier on. You're not showing your face. Who even knows if this is Hayes? That's the thing. He's sneaking on us. No, we hope you feel better soon, man. It seems like everybody's a little bit sick.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, so we'll try to keep the questions light. So you don't have to talk too much. And no, it's never fun to talk when you're not feeling well. But again, we so appreciate you being here. One of the questions I had just to kind of start off, tell people maybe that don't know your story a little bit about you, because I know even myself, I just know you as the guy who makes edits for all these recruits, and they're awesome, great edits that we see all the time. And when a Hayes Fawcett edit drops, that guy's going to a certain place, but we don't know how you got started, how you got there. So maybe give us a little bit of background of how you got into the recruiting game, how you got so connected.
Yeah, man. Starting off, I was like in the early stages of middle school. I'd say about 5th or 6th grade, and growing up, I've always been big into football and stuff, and just started kind of messing around on my phone doing these photo edits, and originally they weren't anything good at all. I started off doing them for the guys that went to the high school that I was going to attend. I was a ball boy at the time, and they were posting them and stuff like that, and it was just pretty cool to see these guys I was looking up to post some stuff I took time on to make. And then I just started noticing as the years went by, like it was 2 years, my page had kind of started to grow. Like I went from just reaching an audience of people from my town to my state. And then I think it was a 2015 or 2016 class. It was when Darius Geis, he played running back at LSU. He was a senior. I remember I did a lot of stuff for him. Like me and him talked frequently throughout his senior year. That's really before I even got into like making like top schools and commitment edits. Like at the time, I wasn't really doing announcement edits,
Mm-hmm.
And he went to the Army All-American game, which is actually happening this week. And throughout that whole week, I was doing, work for him like I had been doing throughout his whole senior year. And he was posting, and then I started noticing like all these 4- and 5-star recruits following me and reaching out to me to do some stuff similar as to what I was making for him. And I was like, honestly, really starstruck at the time because, like I said, I was just doing work for guys at my local high school and around the state. And then, honestly, since then, it's just really multiplied. Like every year, all these kids are hitting me up for their announcements and stuff like that. And it's pretty cool to see, all the connections I've made. Like looking back on it, a lot of these guys that are in the pros, I was fortunate enough to, make edits for them and connect with them early in their process.
Man, that's awesome. It's crazy to think that one thing that you do so well can blow up into a lot of other things. I think that's a testament to you continuing to grind, and I think eventually it just hit. Sounds like, and now hey, you're up and coming, doing the big thing. So that's awesome to hear that story for sure. Trav, did you have anything that you wanted to ask Hayes before we move on to my next point?
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that recruits are getting in touch with you about commitments, about decommitments, about top fives, top eights, everything like that. Have coaches ever tried to get the inside scoop from you? And is that how this kind of On3 stuff started? Were coaches trying to say, "Hey, man, just I got to know, is this guy leaning this way? This guy doing that?" Have coaches got in touch with you, or recruiting directors, or anything like that?
Yeah, I've talked to some coaches, and this was kind of before even the On3 thing started. Like I've talked to some coaches, but like I really haven't like given them information, like telling them, this guy's going to your school or something like that. Like it's just like the few interactions I've had with coaches, it's all been like friendly talk, like them reaching out to me, saying how they see my work, they appreciate my work, and kind of congratulate me on my success, and then we'll just kind of talk
They're
some
trying. They're
football.
trying to
And
butter you up. They're trying to butter you up, befriend you.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and yeah, it's just been pretty cool to talk because I never really saw myself talking to a college coach. Like just like I said, being a kid, but now I'm in college now. I just didn't really, foresee myself talking to these guys that are running these football teams. So it's pretty cool.
Can you tell us anything? I mean, obviously not the future stuff. Like I know the reason you're in the position you're in is because you don't blow guys' moments. But what can you tell us a crazy story about maybe something that happened in the past? You don't have to use player names or anything like that. Of maybe a last second flip that you didn't see coming, or you were about to post something. They said, "Hey, stop!" Something happened. Give me your wildest recruiting story as it comes to making edits.
That's a tough one. I can, off the top of my head, I can think of like ones that were recent. Two guys on early signing day, which was the first Wednesday in December, I believe. The day or the night before, one of them told me they were going to one school, so I made the edit for that school, and then the next morning he commits to a different school. So I was like, dang, like what happened? I wonder if he just straight up lied to me because no one's really ever done that, or if he just had like a last second change of heart, And then I didn't think it would happen again, but the next morning I made one like the night of National Signing Day. I think I was like up 40 hours straight, like grinding all these edits out, and I didn't even finish. But anyway, the next morning a guy told me he was going to flip to one school, but then ended up flipping to a different school. So that's another kind of story where I'm like kind of bummed out that I wasted the time when I could have been doing some other ones. But I mean, as far as Oklahoma wise, the Jaron Canick story is pretty cool. Obviously, we saw him get his name leaked in the student directory, and at that moment, I mean, it was pretty obvious he was going to Oklahoma, and he had like reached out to me the day that happened, and like wanted a decommitment letter thing for Clemson, so I made that, and I wasn't really expecting for him to kind of come out and make a commitment announcement like he did today. But he had reached out to me for the commitment one about a week and a half ago and just straight up told me, like, whenever you get the chance to do it, like I'm good whenever. Just hopefully, like, I'm planning on doing it next week whenever you have it done. So tonight I didn't really have much going on, so I was able to make his edit and get that out.
So you were the reason we had to wait a week and a half to get the Jaron Canick news? Oh my goodness, this is absurd, man. I'm surprised Kobe wasn't reaching out to you, me, and like, hey man, make that edit already. I got people giving me some crap for my lock emojis.
Yeah,
that's pretty wild.
Because he actually, I think he told me, I think it was like Saturday or Sunday. He told me he was going to commit and just me do it. Just have it sometime this week. So we had been conversating a little bit throughout the week. I've been telling him, I'm working on it. I'll have it for you soon. And then today I ended up doing it, and I texted it to him at like 5:45, not really expecting him to post it today. And I asked him, I was like, so when do you think you'll post it? He was like, shoot, let's just do it at 6:30. I was like, okay, cool. So that was pretty cool to kind of him wait on my time when most of the time I'm struggling to meet all the deadlines.
Yeah, and,
Man,
and I kind of want to touch on that a little bit real quick. I saw you tweet out on signing day. You felt that you were a bit overwhelmed with some of the edits, and you had, worried especially with guys that are flipping and guys that aren't telling you that they're flipping until the last minute and expecting you to have edits ready. Have you ever thought about maybe next signing period bringing on somebody else to help with the edits, or is that just another risk of having somebody that can't keep a secret as well as you, and you're just going to try and maybe get ahead of it in other ways?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have thought about, having somebody kind of help me on a few of them, but it would definitely have to be someone I trust, and that the trust would be built over time, over a long period of time. It wouldn't just be like a one-time thing. But as of now, I just I stick to doing everything by myself, and like all the other signing days, I was able to get the edits done, like all of them done. But I don't know. I guess it was just a lot more announcements this time around, and maybe just more players hitting me up versus the last ones. It was stressful, man. I was up like 40 hours straight. Like I stayed up till I woke up at like 5 a.m. on Wednesday and like worked that whole day because on Thursday I remember no, it was Tuesday. It was Dalen Everett, uh, Jaden Gibson, guys like that were announcing the day before signing day, so I had to have all those. And then the next day was when everybody announced, and I had a note. I had like notes in my phone, like all the guys that had hit me up and that are committing and what time and where they were going. And I had like over 20 to do. So I stayed I was up like that whole night working. And then like as the times would go, I like scratch all the ones off that I had done. And then it got to like the 2:00, 2:15 mark. And that's when you had like 6 of them back to back to back, like 15 minutes apart. And at that point, it was just impossible for me to get all those done. And then I started to feel bad because those guys are hitting me up, depending on me to, have the edit ready for them to have something to post in their special moment. And I wasn't able to come through for that. But a lot of them ended up waiting days, or I think one of the guys even waited a week for me to be able to finish their edit and post it. So that kind of showed me, how much all this stuff that I do kind of means to the recruits, and it was pretty cool.
Do you think as people's trust grows in you, because a lot of these guys, they don't know you, they know of you for the most part, especially new clients, if you will. Do you think that as your name gets bigger and bigger, and you being known as kind of the edit guy on National Signing Day, on early National Signing Day, do you think they'd be more willing to tell you ahead of time? Because I feel like most of these guys know, more than a week out that they're going to be doing this. Do you think that it's a trust development type situation that maybe you can reach out to these guys and say, hey, I've got, hundreds of players. I've not leaked a thing ever. So, if you want to give me, a week or two ahead of time, or 3 weeks ahead of time, or a month, I can get it already in the chamber. And then on signing day, when you announce, we can, boom, do it on your time.
Yeah, definitely all the guys that I talk to and that I have talked to, they all know they can trust me. And I mean, that's just built up over time, like you said, with my name growing and my work getting out there. And a lot of these guys honestly have been seeing my work and following me since the early classes, like the 2015, 2016 classes, when I've been putting out those guys that are now in the league or even stars in college football now. And like even a lot of those guys were hitting me up back in like early as to them being a freshman in high school, hitting me up and like just kind of reaching out to me and telling me their name and like updating me when they get offers and stuff like that. But as far as them knowing like a week out and stuff like that. The ones that did know, they told me, and I was able to get those done. But other ones, some of them like truly didn't know. Like a lot of the guys ended up waiting like the night of or the morning before or the morning of to make their final decision, and that's when it kind of puts the pressure on me. And another thing about me is I would say I'm a 5-star procrastinator. I like to work last minute, and that's a very bad habit of mine, but I'm working on getting better at that. So next signing day, I think I'll definitely kind of learn from what happened this time, and it won't happen again.
Man, that's good stuff. I can tell you right now, I am a 5-star procrastinator as well, and I've had to learn myself. Hayes, I'm on top of this. I'm also a full-time athletic director up here in Indianapolis, and that was last year being my first year as the AD at my school, and my first year as AD in general. I had COVID and everything like that, and so I kind of got used to things being slower, and then this year as things started to pick back up. I had to learn that, man. I should have been had this done 2-3 months ago to be
Yeah,
ahead of the curve. And so that's look, you're not alone in that, dog. So um, I'm out here feeling that too.
facts.
um, Another question I had just specifically was obviously we saw earlier today. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. Actually, you sent out a tweet right that had Oklahoma fans just hype because, like I said, when you send something out, it's almost gospel with when it comes to recruiting. It was a graph that went up, right? Oh, you said Oklahoma recruiting going up.
Yeah,
So speaking of that, I want to get your just your take and maybe even yeah, just your vantage point of what Oklahoma recruiting was like. Let's just say under Lincoln Riley. I know that the name's bringing up a lot of animosity with some Sooners fans in the chat right now, but under Lincoln Riley, what was recruiting like? And then how did you see it dip off when he left? And then how have you seen it kind of come back? If you can speak to that a little bit.
yeah. Obviously with Lincoln Riley, he was and still is a tremendous recruiter. He was able to get all the top talent to Oklahoma. You see guys like Malachi Nelson, Caleb Williams, Spencer Rattler. Like all the top quarterbacks want to play for Lincoln Riley. So I mean, when you get those top quarterbacks, all the pieces around the puzzle, like the offensive side of the ball, definitely want to be a part of that. And I mean, now with him going to USC, like we saw Malachi Nelson, Makai Lemon, Raleek Brown, guys like that follow him. But now with Brent Venables, I honestly believe that Oklahoma's going to do a better job recruiting the defensive side of the ball. They already did a pretty good job recruiting the defensive side of the ball. You had guys like Gabriel Brownlow Dindy, which was a huge loss. You had Derek Moore, guys like that. They ended up, decommitting. But honestly, under Brent Venables, I see Oklahoma recruiting the defensive side of the ball a lot better. And I've actually heard from a lot of 2023 guys excited about Brent Venables being there. And I mean, even with Jaron Kanek, he straight up said like Brent Venables was pretty much the main reason why I ended up flipping from Clemson to Oklahoma, because he's just that good of a defensive mind.
Absolutely. What do you know about Jeff Lebby and his recruit? Anything from recruits on him being at Oklahoma? If that obviously it's not going to be the level of Lincoln Riley. I don't think we can expect that. But do you think he'll still garner a lot of respect from offensive recruits around the nation?
Oh yeah, for sure. Oklahoma's always going to do a good job recruiting, regardless of who's there. I think Jeff Lebby's going to be a good offensive coordinator, and obviously a lot of the top talent will, go to Oklahoma still. But as far as the quarterback position, Oklahoma's still going to get really good quarterbacks, but I don't know if it's going to be on the level as to what Lincoln Riley was able to do.
Sure. Now I mean, that's reasonable. Obviously, Lincoln Riley has a good track record. Is, we're not too pleased with him right now. I don't think any rational person can sit here and deny it. However, obviously, like you saw and like we all saw the other day when Dylan Gabriel committed, we kind of came around him and said, you know what, Oklahoma's Oklahoma. We're always going to have good quarterbacks, and the truth is that you can still win a lot with really good quarterbacks as opposed to the top of the top. Obviously, everybody wants the top of the top. Obviously, we would love Caleb Williams to come back. But at the end of the day, it's about your team, how you guys fit together, what the whole team talent is like as well. We've seen teams with much lesser quarterbacks do very well and have a shot to be as good as they can be. So, but that's comforting, I'm sure, for some Sooners fans to hear that the recruiting isn't going to take too much of a dip, and that defensively, especially, which as well as anyone, we've not seen the greatest defenses the last couple of years. Obviously, Grinch helped that a little bit, but now with Brent Venables coming in, we maybe get more elite talent than we've had in a long, long time. So excited for that for sure. Hey guys, if you have questions for Hayes, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll give Hayes a couple more questions from the fans out here, and then Hayes, after we answer some questions, man, feel free to stay with us. I'm sure we're probably going to talk about Caleb. We're going to talk about a couple other things as it pertains to Oklahoma. Feel free to stay and give your opinion on that stuff, and also feel free to hop off if I know you're not feeling well, so I don't want to hold you hostage either, man.
For sure. Appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, let's see a couple of these questions we can get up here. I don't know if you can even answer this, but I'm gonna put it up here. How many edits do you have in the chamber for OU?
Well, like I said, I'm a 5-star procrastinator. Currently, I don't have any made.
How many should you have made? I'll put it that way.
How many what?
How many should you have made if you were more timely?
No comment. I can't say the exact number.
Ooh.
Well, okay. Well, it's a number greater than 0. We know that much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's funny. Did was there a spike? Obviously, you talked about Brent Venables being known for his defensive mind and just his character and everything like that. That's a lot of what I've heard about him from people, players, and whatnot. So, did you get any response when Bates was the hire from Clemson, the defensive line coach from Clemson? We saw on Twitter a bunch of the 2023 guys, especially the elite guys, kind of pop a little bit. So did you hear any of the noise when Bates got hired?
I didn't really reach out to anybody, or no one reached out to me, but I definitely did see a lot of those tweets, like from guys of the likes of like Peter Woods, Kelby Collins. Those are two of them that I saw, and those are both really, really good defensive linemen in that 2023 class.
Is anybody, you kind of cornered the market for better or for worse on that term on the edits. Is there anybody else that's doing commitment edits that is kind of another name to watch for or things like that? I mean, as you grow in your career with On3 and growing just your college, say that gets busy, what are other editors, content creators that you like?
There's a few of them that I've seen. I'm trying to think. There's a guy. He's joined the Spaces a couple of times. His name's Aiden Works. He runs a page called Sooners Vibes. I really enjoy the content edits that he makes. He's a really good guy, big Oklahoma fan. So if y'all are in this chat and y'all want to check out a Oklahoma page, he's one of the many pages that I like. Also like a page called Sooner Sports Daily. He doesn't really do edits, but he provides some really good Oklahoma recruiting, college football, just everything Oklahoma. He provides really good content, as well as a account called All Sooners. Him and Sooner Sports Daily, they do a lot of Instagram lives, and we're actually planning on doing a live with me, him, with me all Sooner Sports Daily, and then maybe have a few recruits hop in the live. So if y'all are in here and y'all want to kind of see that in the future, stay tuned. I think I'll be putting a tweet out whenever that happens. That'll be something cool to watch. But that's just a few of the guys that I really enjoy following.
Awesome. I got one question that somebody else had put up. How many edits have you done in one day? What's the most edits that you've ever done in one day?
Oh man, probably the National Signing Day span over 20. I think it was over 20, maybe. I don't know.
Man, how much time does it take you to do each edit, would you say, on average?
I never really time myself, but it's not really that quick of a process. I would probably say over like anywhere from an hour to an hour 30. I don't know. That's just a guess.
Man, that's a long time.
Yeah, like it's like really like it's kind of misunderstood. Like my stuff's kind of misunderstood because people don't really realize that a lot of it takes time, and I do have an outside life, so I kind of a lot of the time my stuff is rushed, and I'm just trying to get it out and get it ready for the player to meet that deadline. So like sometimes my stuff just isn't like, I don't know how to put it, as I don't know, it just isn't as perfect as it should be.
Yeah.
Hey, but you're a man in demand. You got to get it out. You got to get it out, especially when they got you on the timeline.
Yeah, like the decommitment ones. Everyone was making comments about how it's the same template and all that. I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna sit there and spend hours doing of all edits, a decommitment one. Of course, like I'm gonna do what's efficient for me. I'm gonna use that same template, and I'm just gonna work to get them all out.
Yeah, I think when it comes to decommitment edits, that's what most people whine about these days. They say, "Oh man, this is ridiculous. We don't need a decommitment edit. We don't need this edit." I mean, I compared it earlier on Twitter. If somebody orders a well done steak, I'm gonna cook it. Like I don't have a choice to just say like, "Nah, I don't really agree with eating this, whatever well done." I'm gonna do it. So I imagine it's the same with you when it comes to decommitment edits or transfer or declaring any edit. It's like, look, if these guys are getting in touch with this is what I do. So let me throw one out there. So
yeah,
I don't
exactly.
think you were
like,
the
I'm
one
not gonna
that
sit there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit there and tell the player, like, no, I'm not gonna do that for you because these fans don't like it. Like, and I've talked to a lot of the guys about it, and they're like, we would rather post something cool or different rather than posting just a screenshot of our notes app. Like,
the notes
times
app
are changing now. Yeah,
the notes app was legendary, man.
for real.
There are going to be people that you're the man that killed the notes app. That's got to feel weird. That was an era. There's going to be a long list of people that thinks that's how people communicate is screenshots of the notes app. But not when Hayes Fawcett came around, put an end to that.
Yeah, it was crazy because like guys would, I mean, honestly, they would release top schools. They would even commit with that notes app, and I mean now that's no more really.
I'm trying to think who the last person was that I saw commit with a notes app, because I remember it like vividly. I remember somebody that committed to OU using the notes app, but then like you said, since you really people have really stopped doing that, so you're a trendsetter, dog.
Yeah, it's I got an interesting question. I don't know if you're gonna be able to answer it. I don't know if you remember. Once you do an edit, it's out of your brain. Do you remember the most amount of schools somebody put as their top schools? Did somebody come out with like a top 20, top 25, something like that? Because sometimes it gets a little ridiculous. You're like, really? You narrowed it down to 18 schools? I mean, is that even really narrowing it down?
Yeah, that's a funny question actually. I think the most I've ever done was either a top 20 or a top 25, but now, like, that was whenever I was kind of younger. I didn't really know any better, but now I don't do that. Like, the most I'll do probably is like a top 12, and that's just like if it's a guy with a ton of offers. Like, I mean, 50 to 12, that's a big cut. But, you go from 20 to 12 or like 25 down to 20, like that's not doing much, So I've kind of been,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
time
because
passed,
then
I've been able to kind of differentiate what's a legit top schools versus something that's not.
do you ever, in the creation of those, so say somebody comes to you with a top 20, are you like, man, you need to cut that down a little more. 20 schools is still a little much, or you're just like, hey, let me know whenever you cut it down again, then I'll make it happen for you. And kind of leading in with that question, how much creative control do you let them have if they say, oh man, I want to do this, I want to be holding this and this, that, and the other, or do they just say, hey, make an edit?
Yeah. The first question, if they reach out to me with a big number, like for a top schools, I'll tell them like, that's a little too much, honestly, in my opinion. Just hit me back whenever you cut it down a little bit more or something like that along those lines. We'll just talk it out. And sometimes they won't even end up announcing it because they realize it's kind of I don't know, I guess silly of them to do a top schools with that many. But as far as the other question, one of the first questions I ask whenever the process begins, I try to put as much like creative, like I let the athlete be as creative as they want. Like I'll ask them, is there anything specific you want me to put or include on the edit? And sometimes they'll say some stuff that they want, but most of the time they're just like, nah, you just do whatever you think looks best. So
Awesome.
Have you had anybody ask you to do edits that wasn't a college athlete? Maybe they were picking between something else in their life and they wanted an edit done, a top X edit or a commitment edit done to something else in their life not associated with college football?
yeah, I get a lot of DMs actually. Most recently, I saw one, but I wasn't able to like respond to it or do it due to how busy things are right now. One guy said, me and my friends, we're in a fantasy league, and last place has to like have a certain punishment or whatever. And he was like, can you make me a top 3 punishment edit for this league? And that would have been pretty funny to do.
Oh my gosh.
Every man's got his price.
Yeah.
Every man's got his price. I feel you.
Yeah. Man. Well, Hayes, man, we have so appreciated having you on, man. Thank you for answering our questions. Thank you for just giving us your story of how you got to where you are in humble beginnings. And thanks for all the work you do. And, hopefully you keep grinding, man. And, if you ever need anything at all, just reach out and know what you need from us. But it was great to have you on. Like I said, feel free, seriously. If you want to stay around, stick around. We're going to talk about the last 72 hours in Oklahoma football because it's been a doozy, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
But if you need to go because you don't feel well, that's completely okay too, man. So I'm gonna leave it up to you.
Most definitely. Yeah, I'll stick around. I like to hear this.
Awesome. Okay. Well, you guys heard it here first. Hayes is gonna stick around. Again, he'll sounds like he'll be here. So when we get to the questions portion later on, feel free to ask more questions then, and we'll maybe try to get some in. All right. Travis, how would you describe the last 72 hours in Oklahoma Sooners football?
I would describe it as calculated. If I had to use one word, what's been so exciting about this is seeing Oklahoma be prepared for it. When it came to Caleb's announcement, they knew he was going in the portal. So they knew it was going to be that day yesterday. No, a couple days ago. I don't know. My days are running together. It was a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So Monday, they knew he was going to be in the portal. So what do? They announce Todd Bates as the first news. And they don't announce it. They leak it. Because when you see stories get leaked, it's not by accident. The university wants those out, right? So they leak that. Todd Bates is now at OU. That gets the buzz going, as we talked about. Hayes saw it. It gets a lot of positive buzz going. Then our friends at On3 report that Jay Valai is going to be the target for the cornerback coach. That's the Alabama cornerback coach, of course. So another domino falls. Good news. Last two coaches have been announced. So with that, the Caleb news comes, and then Dylan Gabriel announces 2 hours later. So it becomes a net positive day because I'm so glad we did the spaces at 9 p.m. because if I'd have done them right after Caleb, went in the portal, it would have been unbearable. So I'd have been using that mute everyone button about every 10 minutes, I think. So anyways, I think it was a masterclass, a PR masterclass is what I called it on Twitter. I think, and the reason some people aren't agreeing with me entirely is the letter that they put out, that Joe Castiglione and Brett Venables put out about Caleb and about how, we're ready to, discuss NIL. There are plenty of NIL opportunities, this, that, and the other. So a lot of people thought that, they're begging Caleb to stay. I saw it completely differently. That letter wasn't for Caleb. It wasn't for the fans. It was for every big-time recruit that was going to be considering Oklahoma in the future. And all the negative recruiting against us would say, oh, man, Caleb left because, man, they don't really believe in NIL over there. Or, oh, man, this happened because they won't, pony up for NIL. They're really hard to work with NIL. So I think they put that letter out really trying to talk to every player in the future that might say, oh, well, they don't even talk about NIL. Like, no, we're going to release a whole statement because Caleb has already put all the nation's eyeballs on us. He's done that for us. We don't have to. When we put this statement out, it's going to be seen by tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe more people than it would have if we just would have put a statement out about NIL. So I think they very tactfully put together that statement and released it at the exact right time. So with that, I mean, everything, even with Mario going into the portal, they're making more announcements right before. Like they officially announced Todd Bates right before, and it makes you wonder how long they've had these hires done. Here's my thought on it. It makes you wonder how long they've had these hires done and how long they held it because they knew Caleb was going in the portal, because it's been known by those of us that kind of keep in touch with things. It's been known for a long time that Caleb was going to enter the portal. So I wonder how long they held on to that Todd Bates news and how long they held on to the Jay Valai news. And if Dylan wanted to transfer even earlier, but they were like, hey, wait, we're going to need all the bullets in our chamber to fire back at the negative attention we're going to get when Caleb leaves. And then just to get all of those NFL players and big-time NFL players, we're talking Kyler Murray. I mean, we're talking Adrian Peterson. We're talking some big names. They're tweeting out support of Dylan Gabriel immediately, after the commitment. And we were in the space at the time. And it's bam. I mean, it's Joe Mixon. There's a list of 12 of them, 13, Gerald McCoy, whoever. I would leave off too many, so you don't need to list them in the comments or anything. But I thought all of that was just, like I said, it was a masterclass. It was a PR masterclass. They knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Hey, two questions real quick. One, if you do have a college football team, who would it be if you have one at this point? And then two, after that, I want to hear your perspective on everything that's happened for Oklahoma football the last 3 days.
Honestly, if I did have a college football team, as of right now, I don't, because honestly, it's like with what I do, I like to, just be an overall fan and like follow all the guys and root for the guys that I've done work for. So I don't really have one. So I guess I would say the school that I'm at would be my college football team. I go to Northwestern State here in Louisiana. I don't know if y'all know this, but I was actually recruited to play here. I did commit but I ended up not playing to pursue what I'm doing now because, long term, I feel like this is something that'd be more beneficial than me playing college football, but that's beside the
Absolutely.
point.
What position did you play?
I play quarterback.
Oh, okay. You're
Did
spinning
you
the
do
ball.
did you do your own commitment edit?
Yeah, I actually did.
I
What?
gotta see that. I
You
gotta
gotta
see
you
that.
gotta send that to us.
Put that in the group DM that we're in.
I will. I got you.
That's got to be epic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll have to go find that. But my opinion on everything happening, I didn't really. Whenever Travis said what he just said about holding all this stuff back, and then even seeing like the whole like famous OU alumni, like football wise, like Adrian Peterson, Kyler Murray, I didn't really think about it like like you said, we're keeping the bullets or whatever. I think that's pretty smart on Oklahoma's part to keep all this good news held in to kind of drain out the bad news about Caleb Williams. That was really smart.
Yeah.
And then obviously our boy Phil Lodeholt coming home to be an analyst. That's been really exciting. Kind of early returns of hiring Turnip Seed and getting Brett Venables the reins and everything like that. You're already starting to see that with analysts coming on. I mean, for ones that played pro football, ones that played here at Oklahoma. I mean, big time stuff like that. That's when you can turn to it and say, "Oh, okay, this feels a little more tangible of the changes that we were kind of told that we were going to get." So,
yeah. And the crazy thing is, and everybody's saying in the chat, Joe C is the best AD in the country, and you're seeing why really with like Trav said this PR masterclass because nothing gets out that Joe C doesn't want to get out. One, but also the crazy thing is OU's building a monster just staff wise, and it's funny because a lot of people on Twitter are talking to us about how does OU fans are delusional. How do they think that they're in a better position now than they were 4 months ago with a quarterback guru as a head coach, with Caleb Williams and Malachi Nelson and total, all these 5-star, 2023 wide receivers, running backs, et cetera, et cetera. And obviously, optically, naturally, one would say, obviously, it doesn't look like we're in a better position. And maybe not even next year, right? But I think long term, what we felt like was Lincoln Riley and the way that some things were happening in the program just was not going to cut it, especially going to the SEC. Not only necessarily just practice-wise, but even like support staff-wise, different things like that, defensively, different things like that. What we've seen happen as far as staffing goes in Oklahoma the last week and a half has just it's been hit after hit after hit after hit. And if anybody's actually paying attention, then they know that Oklahoma's building a monster with Bates coming in, with Turnip Seed coming in. The rumored recruiting analyst is supposed to take Annie Hansen's position, who's called the recruiting guru, is coming in. I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now, but he's coming in. You got the defensive end coach Chavis from Clemson that came in. Obviously, you have Venables, you have Roof, you have Hall. Offensively, you still have Beatenbow, right? You get Levy, who's by all accounts a top 5 offensive coordinator in the nation in the last couple of years. You still have DeMarco Murray, who's recruiting at a very high level, even in the midst of everything going on. Kel Gundy goes back to being a wide receivers coach, and Kel Gundy is the main reason most of those tweets went out with all the players, because Kel Gundy's that dude, and he's always been that dude. And so he's going to continue to be that dude as the wide receivers coach. But I think it's just funny that a lot of people that they're not paying attention. Oklahoma's building something, and even if it's not next year, soon they'll understand why we said what we said, that we may be better off long term as far as the program goes. So, Travis, what do you agree with that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the obvious upgrades and just start listing them. obviously, just from a accomplishment standpoint. All right, I'll see you, brother. Brett Venables is an upgrade over Alex Grinch from just that defensive leadership role. I love Tibbs to death, but Todd Bates has won Recruiter of the Year by Rivals. I saw a stat where every defensive lineman that he had recruited and that had started for him had made at least one appearance on an all-conference team, which is absurd. I mean, you look at even just the support stuff, right? You look at the strength and conditioning with Schmitty. That is obviously an upgrade. You look at Turnip Seed coming on. That's an upgrade from Clark Stroud. Just from again, these are all from accomplishment standpoints. This is nothing personal against anybody. These are just based in their accomplishments. Turnip Seed was behind Saban, and then he was behind Dabo. I mean, and a lot of people, behind the scenes credit their success a lot to him. So having him and then having J.R. Sandlin being brought in, having the guy that's known recruiting hashtag recruiting 101. You look that up, and he's who comes up every time. I mean, he's been at Bama, he's been at Tennessee, he's been at Notre Dame, and then he's really kind of he's so well nationally known in the recruiting scene that if you get him, Bates, Venables together, Drew Hill is a monster. You get all those guys at some big time targets, and you're in a lot better shape than you were a year ago. So,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I think reasonably, as we've talked about on the show many times, we can see OU, depending on who we keep, which we'll continue to talk about here in a little bit, be competing for a Big 12 championship next year, and a fringe playoff spot. Just with because we do have talent returning. Yeah, we're gonna have some new systems, but again, I think just with the hype that's around the program, the talent that we still do have, I think it's reasonable to think that we're still going to perform well. As Bob Stoops said when he stepped in, OU's in a lot better spot now than it was in '98 when he came in. So I think we can expect to see good things definitely in the future. I did have another question for Hayes real quick. Speaking of, obviously, we're talking about, we're going to move on to the Caleb Williams kind of situation and go a little bit more in depth of that. Obviously, we know that you seem like you spoke with Mario, who went in transfer portal and is going home to Florida right now. And it's correct that he told you he wants Caleb to be his quarterback. That's what he knows at this point. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And we talked a lot, like even when he was in high school and stuff. And he wasn't one of those guys that's very outspoken. Like whenever he texts me, it's really like a few word, one to 3 word responses. But I asked him if he had talked to Caleb. He was like, "No, I haven't." And then he said, "I don't know what he's gonna do, but one thing's for sure, I want for him to be my QB." And I mean, whenever they were in high school, I remember seeing them. They were on lives together all the time. They were always talking about how they were a package deal. And I mean, you ended up seeing that come true with both of them going to OU. And I mean, I really honestly believe it's a good chance both of them go to the same school, in the portal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, I know that a lot of speculation has been made that Mario was kind of homesick, so I wouldn't be shocked to see him stay in Florida. And there's obviously a big contingent of people that think Caleb could go to Miami if Joe Brady goes there, and I think that could be a potential fit for both of them. But obviously, that's just my kind of guess or opinion of what could happen. Travis, have you heard anything deeper on kind of the Caleb Williams situation, and even as we talked about Mario and other people who may be looking to head with him?
Not obviously specifics of where he might go. I think we can scratch off a couple places, but his dad is not going to allow him to go to Georgia, and it's become decently clear that Carl has a large role in this decision. Georgia, Kirby Smart and him, apparently they don't either see eye to eye, or he just doesn't think Kirby Smart's in a position to help Caleb. The only reason Georgia had an early in with Caleb was because of his relationship with Dan Lanning. So, a lot of people will say, oh, well, then Oregon makes sense because he's at Oregon now. I mean, Lanning will get you in the door to have the conversation, but running the team, I'm not sure Dillingham, who came from Florida State to join one of his best friends, Lanning at Oregon, I'm not sure he excites Caleb, and they just got Bo Nix. So I'm not sure if they offered him some assurances of starting position or something like that. Obviously, we all know Caleb Williams is better than Bo Nix, but that would cause some drama that I don't think they're willing to push all in and expose that and then not get them and then have to answer to Bo saying, what's going on? You just gave me all these assurances. I still believe wholeheartedly that he does not go to USC because, his family was told by Lincoln, hey, because keep in mind, the biggest negative recruiting tool against Lincoln Riley for years has been he's going to the NFL. He's going to the NFL. You've seen him rumored to Dallas. You've seen him rumored to Philly. You've seen him rumored to Arizona before Cliff. You've seen him rumored to New York. You see him rumored everywhere, right? Even Tattoo put him in a Vikings visor just to torment me. So, Caleb and Carl and their mother were told, hey, I'm going to be here throughout your career. I'm going to coach you. I'm going to stay at Oklahoma your whole career. I'm going to coach you your whole career. Well, he obviously lied. So I think betraying that trust specifically to them, because as we see that Carl takes this very seriously, is very calculated, everything like that. And it took a lot to get that trust with Lincoln. So now that Lincoln's ruined that trust, I don't necessarily see that happening out to USC. Lincoln's tried, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'll leave that to my couple of places that I could see him going maybe. Joe Brady being at Miami would definitely put them in the running, although they just hired a co-OC, and I don't see Joe Brady going from an NFL OC. I don't see him going from an NFL OC down to a co-OC of an ACC team that's rebuilding. I don't see Joe Brady doing that. So if Joe Brady does that, then obviously that I think Miami becomes a definite option because, Hayes was talking about him and Mario wanting to play together. If Mario gets to go back down to Miami and Caleb gets to go with Joe, I think that kind of checks some boxes for him. And Miami needs a big win. When you look at Florida State and Florida and Miami, they're constantly in a 3-school race to figure out who's going to be the one to really lock in the borders of the state of Florida. Anybody who can lock in the borders of the state of Florida is instantly a top 5 team in just the talent composite. If you just take South Florida, but if you take the whole state of Florida, I mean, you can put together a top 5 team just based on the guys coming out of there. Yeah. So I think those schools are in such a race. Well, Miami would do whatever they can, absolutely ever they can, to make sure that they get this big splash and then catapult themselves towards locking in the state. So keep that in mind. I also think Auburn could be a good fit. They've got a good team around them. You've got, Bo Nix made leaps and bounds. It always seemed like one of those guys, he can't get it done. And then he gets better and better. He might play his way up into the NFL. Obviously, he's going to be at Oregon now, so there's a spot open. So Auburn might be a situation. But then I put out on Twitter, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but UCLA made a lot of sense to me. Makes a lot of sense to me still. Caleb will make more money at Oklahoma more than anywhere else in the country in NIL deals, especially those that he's already put into motion and everything like that, more so than anywhere except LA. If he goes to LA, that's the only place that he's going to make more money. So with that, if you got to go to LA, but you don't, I still don't think, obviously guys like Teddy who know way more than I do as inside information, think that he's USC bound. I personally don't see it. if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I get it, but
Yeah.
I personally don't see it. I think UCLA has the LA money. It has Chip Kelly, who I get that people want to say that he hasn't developed anybody, but he developed and coached Marcus Mariota, and he was the number 2 overall pick behind Jameis Winston. And we still give Jimbo Fisher all this credit for Jameis Winston and what a quarterback guru he is, but he hasn't done anything since with quarterbacks. So, Kellen Mond can't even – he got drafted, and he's been so bad in practice that the Vikings brought in Sean Mannion to play when Kirk was out. Sean Mannion has never thrown an NFL touchdown. So they're putting that guy in instead of going with Kellen Mond, who they drafted as their future quarterback. So that hasn't gone very well.
Yeah.
So that's what's weird. We give Jimbo Fisher the credit and saying, oh, he's this quarterback guy because of Jameis, but we don't give Chip credit for Mariota, considering Chip left to go to the NFL for years and then came back. So you're missing a massive chunk out of the middle of what would have been what matching Jimbo's career. That whole timeline's askew. So I think UCLA, again, Chip Kelly, you've got the LA money. I love those powder blue uniforms. Those are nice. You don't have an incumbent. DTR's there and he's serviceable, but Caleb Williams, they would not hesitate for a moment to bring in Caleb and say, hey, DTR, we just got to do what we got to do. Chip Kelly has been in the NFL, so he knows what it's like. He knows what it takes to develop guys. The guys at QB Collective who Caleb trains with and many others have trained with, they always point to a guy like Andrew Luck and how ready he was for the NFL. They want Caleb to be that ready by the time he gets to the NFL, and that's the ultimate goal. Because when Andrew Luck got to the NFL, he was instantly good. There was hardly a learning curve. So that's what they're going for. That's what the QB Collective guys, that's the name they use. So the UCLA is something that I see as would be a good option. It's a good school. There's obviously some downsides of being LA for those people that actually like to, not be in traffic for an hour and a half on game day or something like that. But, so those are kind of my thoughts. Miami, Auburn, UCLA, I could kind of see all three of those. I still lean, people are going to trash me in the comments. I still lean 51% that he comes back to OU. A lot of people have been, comparing it to this. They're like, well, no, he's 100% gone. No, he's not 100% gone. The administration is still going to try and bring him back. You don't put out that statement because you don't want him to come back. Yeah. Dylan Gabriel knew the whole time. That's why he's rolling the dice, because if Caleb comes back, Caleb is the starter. And their number one priority is Caleb Williams still. So when I say there's a chance and then he doesn't come back, everybody's going to say, oh, well, I knew he was 100% gone. That's not how it works. If I flip a coin and I say there's a chance it's going to land on heads and it lands on tails, you can't then say, well, it was 100% going to be tails the whole time. Yeah. That's not how this works. So, so I had somebody tell me, they say, well, if Mario Williams, Jaleel, and Caleb all are at OU next year, then I'll say that you were right, that there was a chance. Like, that's not how – have y'all taken a statistic course before? Not how that works. I did see a comment in the side, and I did bring it up on the space on Monday night. I am a big fan of getting Sam Bradford involved as an analyst, there's no room as a quarterback coach or anything like that. But, we just saw it with Phil Lodeholt. And the question was asked the other night, if you had to put together a 4-person team of people to go and pitch Caleb Williams on his return, who would you put in there? And I said Sam Bradford, because he brings the historic element, the Venables elements, the high level, big time NFL pay element.
Mhm.
A guy who's been there, done it, been the number one pick, made tens of millions of dollars in the NFL, and now he just golfs and lives the life of leisure.
Yeah.
I do think it's good now that Lincoln is gone. I think Sam is going to be way more apt to coming back and getting into the fold, especially seeing guys like Phil Lothal, seeing guys just Joe John Finley and DeMarco and Kale, everybody's back. Jeff Levy. I mean, it's all getting the family back together, getting the band back together. So I think there's an opportunity for him to come in. And to finish out that thought, it was Sam Bradford, Bob Stoops, Jeff Levy, and Brett Venables. I think you put those four in a room. I think that would be really hard to turn down. I think they would just make a lot of really good points.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. And yeah, I think that ultimately it just comes down to what he's going to do. I mean, I think one school I had in my mind that you didn't say that I think could be an option is Ole Miss. I think the more I think about it with Lane, he potentially could go there as well. But I think a lot of people have said that OU bringing back all these OU guys, seems nostalgic, but it's deeper than that. Not only is it like, sure, it's nostalgic, but these guys are legit coaches too. Like we're not just bringing them back because they're former OU guys and we just want OU guys. Yeah, we want OU guys, but we also want the best that we can get. And it just so happens that a lot of these guys are some of the best that we can get at these positions, and they happen to be OU guys, and that's even better. So why would you not do that? Get back to who you are as a program, who we've been the last 20 years under Bob Stoops, under Joe C, and the family that we built, the culture we built. Get back to that. You bring Schmitty back. You bring Brent Venables back, obviously, Phil Lodeholt, a number of guys, Brandon Hall, Jeff Levy, DeMarco Murray's there. I mean, just a whole number of guys. So it's going to be good moving forward. Hey guys, we're just about over an hour, so we're going to do a 5-minute question period, and then we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We're going to let Hayes go to bed so he feels better. Trav's got to get out of the Cardinal Club so he can go home. And I
got to clean. I got cleaning to do.
You got to clean. I unfortunately got to start school tomorrow. I've been off for 2.5 weeks, and I finally go back tomorrow morning, and I am not looking forward to it. So 5 minutes. Let's get some questions up here.
I'm gonna answer a couple. I'm gonna answer a couple real quick. First, about if DeMarco Murray ever leaves, do you get at AD immediately? No. DeMarco, when he left the NFL, became a running back coach. That's what he wanted to do. Adrian has not intimated that he wants to get right into coaching, and I think you kind of run a fine line. I don't think it's worth the risk of just saying, hey, we're going to bring in this legend that was the best to do it. A lot of the stuff that made Adrian Peterson the best running back was just that he was more physically gifted than anybody to come through OU and college football in some time. I mean, the dude was an absolute monster. So I don't think it's one of those things. He can't teach that body type. He can't teach that speed. He can't teach that. I mean, you just can't. So, I think you have to look at DeMarco as the outlier and the exception to the rule when you can go and find somebody that's a high-end NFL running back that also can be a great running back coach. A little bit of I'm seeing some stuff about Bradford because I made a mention that with Lincoln gone, he might come around back a little more around. Everybody has to remember, Bradford's relationship with Heupel, right? So Bradford had a great relationship with Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel got let go to bring Lincoln Riley in.
Yeah.
A lot of people around Heupel, and why a lot of people say Heupel isn't going to come back to Oklahoma to coach anytime soon, is because a lot of people thought he was unfairly treated by Stoops and others to make room for Lincoln Riley. So imagine one of your guys, one of your coaches, one of your best friends gets fired and this new guy gets brought in, and now this new guy wants you to come in and do stuff and help him. Like, And then your guy's off at UCF, and he has success there, and now he's having success at Tennessee. And that's why you have to remember what Sam's relationship was with Josh, and then think of what Josh and Lincoln's relationship was like based on how the hiring went. So just remember that. So we can hop into more questions. I just saw that, and I wanted to clear up and get people thinking that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see a couple here. I think we answered that already. Here's one. Are we still in the running for Brandon Ennis? Trav, have you heard anything about Brandon at all? And then if you haven't, Hayes, if you have any, you don't have to say anything as far as an inclination, but just maybe, I don't know if you and Brandon talk, maybe if you want to jump in there as well.
Yeah. I mean, the last time me and Brandon talked, we talked a few days ago, but it was nothing really about his recruitment. He committed extremely early to Oklahoma, but now I kind of see him, I think he's going to slow his recruitment down a lot, wait everything out, see where all the coaches end up and stuff like that before he kind of really starts, cutting down schools or even committing. I'd expect for him to commit not soon at all. It'd probably be a lot later down the line.
Gotcha. So you still would reasonably say Oklahoma may still have a shot to get him back in the fold.
Yeah, I'd say Oklahoma's probably still in his top schools, but obviously with all the coaching changes, he's gonna have to, reestablish and remake some new relationships with the new guys on the staff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then when you look at guys like Kale and Drew Hill and those guys that were, part of his recruitment anyways, a lot of those guys are still there. So hopefully that'll pay dividends. But yeah, and if we've got by that time, hopefully a quarterback, a couple more wide receivers in the boat. I don't think he's the type. I could be completely wrong on this, but I totally get Malachi and Makai and Raleek flipping their commitment to USC because they live there. It was going to be a trip. Going from Florida going to Florida and then all the way over to LA. I know he tweeted something about Cali vibes, whatever, but that's a much different move than going to Oklahoma, especially knowing that going to the SEC, going to be at least playing some games close to home, things like that. You're not going to get any of that in the Pac-12. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on. I've been told that Gentry is still in good shape to end up in a Sooner uniform until I'm told differently, and I was told this yesterday. So until I'm told differently, then I'll keep believing it.
Absolutely.
Hey, he was waiting on meeting the coaches. He was waiting to see how the staff shaped out. Now that the corners coach has been announced, you have to really think of these defensive guys. When you are committed to Oklahoma and your defensive coaches are Roy Manning, who really hasn't accomplished that much specifically as a corners coach. And again, I'm taking all none of this is personal. I'm simply going from accomplishments. And these are facts. So when it comes to Roy Manning's accomplishments, when it comes to Brent Venables versus Alex Grinch's accomplishments, when it comes to, Bates being the co-DC, all that kind of stuff. I just think if you're a defensive commit that's already committed to the class, that you have to think, man, this was really an upgrade. I'm in better shape than I was when I initially committed. So those are my kind of thoughts on that.
Yeah.
And Cam says I talk a lot, so I better shut up.
For this one, I think that it's really a match between Eric Gray and Marcus Major. at this point between the number one running back. In my personal opinion, I think Marcus Major more fits the Jeff Levy mold, though I know Jeff Levy will use Eric Gray a lot better, I think, than Lincoln even used him this year. But I think if Marcus Major is eligible, let's just put it that way, and gets his stuff, together, then I would see him as the number one back. But I think it's going to be between him and Eric Gray. And then obviously you got Sawchuk and you got Barnes coming in there as freshmen that I think will contribute, though I don't think – I'd be shocked if one of those two ended up being number one. See a couple more.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It'll be interesting whose body really holds up and flourishes under Schmitty.
Yeah. Hey, do you talk to Luke Haas at all?
I did. I'll talk to him. Whenever he does top schools and commitment. Honestly, since then I haven't really spoken to him much. But obviously, with him being at Bixby, there's still definitely a chance he can, end back up at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I think another reason, he obviously did commit it because all the coaching staff changed. I think he wanted to open it up and see where all the coaches ended up at. And, like I said with Brandon, he's going to wait and reevaluate everything and establish those relationships. And then we'll start to see, got those 2023 guys start to, get closer to commitment.
Yeah, he did. I talked to him. He said he's going to get to know the coaching staff once the dead period's over and whatnot. He wants to get to know the new coaching staff. So,
yeah.
Okay, Trav. Oh, he left. He walked off. There's one more. Last question for you, and then we'll call it a show. I think you would have a good beat on this. Do you know where we stand potentially with Micah Tease? And then while Trav is waiting, Hayes, question for you: have you struck up a relationship, or have you talked to Micah Tease at all personally?
No, I have not.
You have not. Okay. Trav, where do you think stand with Micah Tease? Do you know?
I shot him a message yesterday because I mainly was asking if he had heard from Jay Valai, the cornerback coach. Those of you that don't know, Micah Tease. I'm buying all the Micah Tease stock that there is. He's a great player, great kid, great leader. He'll definitely, I think he'll impact. I think he has a chance to impact the team from a leadership standpoint, a lot like Pat Fields did. You saw all the kind things that everybody had to say for him when he announced his move to Stanford. He's already started classes there. I mean, it's just insane. So, anyways, big Micah Tease guy. So, obviously, he had an Alabama offer, took an Alabama visit when they played Arkansas, mainly because he's got some friends on Arkansas as well, guys like Miles Slusher from the area. So he wanted to watch that game. He said he hadn't even talked to Jay Valai. It was actually their recruiting director who had done all the communicating so far. He hadn't gotten to the point where he was meeting with all the coaches and everything like that. So that was mainly what I was asking. Obviously, for those of you that remember his older brother, Miles, he obviously played at OU. So I would expect him to have some influence on that. So I think he ends up at OU personally.
Yeah.
Unless he just wants to get it out of his brother's shadow or something.
Sure. Which makes sense. Awesome. Well, hey guys, just one thing I did want to say while we have people in here, and this is, first of all, thank you guys for coming out. This is the biggest show we've ever had. And that's just a testament to you guys coming out, and also obviously the man, the myth, the legend himself, Hayes, blessing us with his presence tonight is a big part of that, obviously, as well. But I did want to ask you guys just to pray for a special family to Sooner Nation. Tyson Edwards is his name. He has a rare form of cancer, and he not doing too hot right now. As of yesterday, they asked for palliative care, which basically means, if you don't know what that means, just to make him comfortable. So there's a link to donate, and I'll put that in the description in this video at the end. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. I believe it's just at Tyson Edwards on Twitter. Please go and follow him. And please just follow his story. A lot of Sooner fans have followed his story. A lot of Sooner players, Ronnie Perkins, Spencer Rattler, multiple of them have been following his story. And yeah, tweet out hashtag Tyson Strong when you do tweet about it. So guys, please pray for that family. And Hayes, even for you, bro. Just if that'd be something that you could have in your thoughts and prayers. He's been somebody very special to Sooner Nation, and Trav and I, we did our show. His dad actually was at that show at before we headed out. And again, Hayes, thank you, bro, so much for blessing us with your presence and being humble enough to come on here, spend some time with us, tell some of the Sooner fans and also other fans, I'm sure, that are in here just about your story and where you've been, man. Do you have anything you want to say before we head out?
I appreciate y'all for having me on the show, and hopefully I can join again sometime in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. And I want to thank everybody for coming out and watching and asking questions. I can honestly say that Oklahoma honestly has one of the strongest fan bases that I have seen. So that's just a shout out to y'all. So
Appreciate it, man.
We
Thanks
try.
for coming on.
You got the king. You got the king over here. Oh, wrong way. Over here, the king of OU Twitter Spaces, OU Twitter. They tried to crown him multiple times, ESPN and whatnot. But we just try to do the best we can. We appreciate the shout out, dog. And of course, literally anytime, if you want to come on here, you hit me or Trav up. We will get you on here anytime. We appreciate you, dog. Don't forget to send us the edit of you.
I was about to say that.
I got you.
From college, your own college edit. We gotta see that.
I got you.
Awesome. Trav, you got anything, man, before we head out?
Nope, there won't be a space tonight. There's a big kitchen. I have a lot of cleaning to do. And as I said, I've got my chef out with COVID. I've got my main saute cook out. And then again, my main opener over at Trey's, her brother tragically passed from a heart attack this morning. So I will be, I'll be not doing a space tonight. We'll see over the next couple of days. Obviously, if Caleb makes an announcement or any other big announcements happen, Parker will probably text me to have a space. So we'll be having a space. So anyways, thank you guys all for tuning in. You guys have made it a lot of fun. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was our biggest showing we've ever had on the show by far. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and follow me on Twitter right over here, and then follow him right over there. We got our handles right there. So shoot us some follows. It's a good way to keep up with the show and a lot of the stuff that we talk about on here. So appreciate it, guys.
And if you don't follow Hayes, it's at Hayes Fawcett 3 on Twitter. At Hayes Fawcett 3.
He's got a check mark. He's the one with a check mark. Really easy to find.
Big time. Hey, I'm gonna also be doing a live, just regular YouTube live, maybe even Twitter live on Saturday. Obviously, as you guys know, the College Football Playoff National Championship is in my hometown, Indianapolis. So they got a bunch of stuff going on downtown. So I'm gonna go down there, try to see, talk with fans, engage with Bama fans, Georgia fans. I may go live. So just be on the lookout for that. But other than that, guys, thanks for coming out to the show. Thanks again, Hayes, for being here. Trav, have a good night, brother. I'll talk to you soon. Boomer.
Absolutely. Boomer.
Appreciate y'all again.
Hey, see you, Hayes.